Hi guys, welcome back to the Turismo Diaries. When Neil from Broadley Garage texted me earlier this week to say he had a two-door car with an exotic red paint and a yellow badge on it, I had a different car in mind. Nonetheless, he said you've got to come down and take this Ford Fiesta ST Mountune for a spin, so that's exactly what we've done. And on that note, I just want to say a big thank you to Broadley Garage for lending me today's car. They're highly rated on Google and on Auto Trader, so please be sure to head on over to their website to check out their current stock, which includes this very car. Moving on to the exterior, overall it's a fantastic car, and for one that was released in 2008, I think it stood the test of time very well, especially in the ST guise itself. The aesthetical improvements over the normal model are fantastic. Stefan Lim, who was principal designer at the time, he had taken the DB9 as one of his most inspiring cars throughout his career, and you can see the similarities between the Aston Martin grills and the grills on this series of Fords. Almost controversial, but who could complain if your Ford looks like an Aston Martin? I find the styling is quite sporty, aggressive. Everything points down to the front and it's all about speed, and you've got that feeling of fast movement even when it's stood still. Coming around to the side, you've got the grey 17-inch alloy wheels with the red calipers. Both of these are optional extras for the ST. Round to the rear, you've got the spoiler, the colour-coded spoiler, and the diffuser that runs along the base of the bumper, and you've got the twin exhausts. With the halogen front headlights and the tinted windows, overall aesthetically you've got a really good package. The boot itself isn't the biggest, but for the size of car we've got, it's enough for what you will need to do on a daily basis. With the car having 5 seats and ample legroom for a 6-foot chap as myself, the boot size is actually okay in comparison to everything else. As for the rest of the interior, the front is dominated by these ultra comfortable and stable Recaro seats, both for the driver and passenger. The centre console, we've got that gloss black again, but here it works really well. All the buttons are clearly laid out and spaced well. Further down you've got the climate control, and then you've got heated seats for the passenger and the driver. You have USB and auxiliary connection, cup holders, and then a storage compartment in between seats. Lighting controls and indicators and windscreen wipers are in their usual positions, and both the driver and passenger have electric windows. The car is also equipped with illuminated sills, which are an optional extra, and they look really good. All that's left to do is go for a drive, and one of the optional extras is for keyless go. So let's just press the power button and away we go. So under the hood we have a 1.6 litre engine, which as standard produces 180 brake horsepower, which is good enough for 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds and a top speed of 137. The Mountune improvements include an induction upgrade and a remap of the engine, which has pushed power up from 180 brake horsepower to around 200 to 210, which makes this car very quick. Especially considering it only weighs around 1100 kilos. Being an ST model, it does have the option to turn the traction control off, but it has 3 modes. In normal mode, stability and traction control are all on, but not to the point where they become overbearing. The next stage is to turn the ESP down 1 stage, which allows a little bit more room for pushing the limits of the car, and the final stage being everything off, which allows the more spirited driver to push the car to its ultimate limits. As we're on normal country roads and the weather isn't that great, I've stuck it on stage 1 just to make sure I get this car back to the showroom. overall the drive is fantastic, and these Recaro seats are very comfortable whilst maintaining that stability. That, in addition to very little body roll, makes for a very nice drive. Visibility is fantastic, and the windshield seems to be so low, and I think this will play very good when if you take your car to a track day. There's no excuse for not hitting any of the apexes. The information coming through the steering wheel is rather good. The steering wheel is very thin, which I think allows for that information to come through rather than feeling numb, which you can often get with a thicker steering wheel. I think it's allowing for those track days where if you're going to put a pair of gloves on, you've still got enough there to feel. Whilst the suspension is firm, it's not uncomfortable, and as I said with the seats, it's not an uncomfortable ride, and it's just about right for everyday use. Road tax at around £150 a year, which is to be expected with this level of performance, and it's quite good. Around 50 mpg can be achieved, which will give you around 430 miles to a tank. However, that all comes down to how aggressive you're going to be willing to drive the car, which when it moves like it does, you can probably plan for around 300 miles to the tank. This car has only done 27,000 miles, and it feels like I've just driven out of Ford's showroom, with 6 Ford stamps including MOTs backing up a full service history. It feels absolutely spot on. From what I've read, and with the car going back to its release in 2008, there haven't been any major issues for cause for concerns in terms of reliability. The things I like about this car are its exclusive paint. You know how I feel about orange, and it's hard to say whether this car is orange or red, depending on how the light catches it. But this pearlescent molten orange metallic paint is just fantastic, and it's exclusive paint. So in terms of values in the years to come, this is the colour you're going to want. I think the overall styling is fantastic, and even by today's standards, it feels very modern and usable. The one surprising thing is how little road noise there is for a car that has such sporting pedigree. I think there are a lot of car manufacturers out there producing sports cars for the road which are just completely unusable, but this you could see yourself having for a very long time. There aren't many things that I can find to dislike about this car, but I suppose the only downside to this Fiesta model is the fact that it didn't release a 5-door, which I can't really see as a disadvantage on the basis that it probably feels so much sportier as a 3-door, and probably the one that everyone would want. Practicality isn't an issue, and neither is rear legroom, so overall I don't think it's a massive factor. Driving this car can simply be described as fun. With the Mountune performance upgrades over the standard ST, really go towards you just driving with a smile on your face. It's super agile, super stable, especially with these Recaro seats, and I think you'd enjoy driving it every single day. Well guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed driving this car. Please be sure to give Broadley Garage a look, and if you're interested in this car, I would act quick because I don't think it's going to be around for very long. If you've enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a like, drop me a comment. All of these things help towards the channel growing, and I will see you on the next one.